Good morning, Dhyana ji. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Not surprisingly, this week's topic is the transforming power of spiritual retreats. As we can see from Dhyana ji's face, she just is back from a very renewed spiritual retreat. So that's the topic for today. As always, we welcome your questions once we get into the topic which Dhyana ji will introduce. Before that, we will request Dhyana ji to start us with a prayer.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's begin with the prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great gurus, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Master, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, beloved Swamiji, we bow at thy feet. We ask thy blessings on our spiritual lives. Help us to uplift our consciousness and live in thy light, thy love, thy joy. Om Shanti Shanti. We have a song and an excerpt from a talk by Swamiji now.
Come gather round, we'll sing the blues away. Dawn now is breaking, and the mountains say, it's only light can make the darkness run. Lift up your head, greet the rising sun. Greet the rising sun. Some people think to harvest happiness by weeding troubles, easing every stress. The trouble is that troubles never end. Get rid of one and you face its friend. And you face its friend. It's in your heart. The songs of joy resound. You'll hear but echoes in the world around. Wind on a hill sounds lonely if you're sad, free if you're free, cheerful if you're glad, cheerful if you're glad. Friends, come with me. We'll chant of battles won, shots not of anger. Joy will be our gun. Before the light, the veils of sorrow rend. In inner freedom, all delusions end. All delusions end.
We used to go out to the desert, and a brother monk of mine, after 2 weeks, he said one thing to me. He said, "What's this?" Because I had left some food in the frying pan. And I told him what it was. It was the only words we spoke in those 2 weeks. But it was absolutely beautiful. I just loved it. It was interesting that we also felt very close to each other because of that seclusion.
It would seem that you would communicate on a much deeper level.
And in fact, I found that he would only have to have a thought and I'd say it. We would know each other's thoughts.
So you were nearby each other then somewhere?
Well, we had the 2 rooms in the same little hut.
Okay.
Yeah. So my seclusion was in one room, his was another. We had a living room and a kitchen. So we had to share a little bit. But I found that in that our attunement became so close that we knew each other's thoughts. Yeah. The madness, madness is confusing the mind. This clarifies the mind. The more you are alone and the more you talk to God, the more you spend your time emptying yourself of all the madness of this world, the more you become clear in your mind, the more you know what life is really all about. And it's a period of, I think everybody should have some time alone. Don't think that as soon as you get home you got to turn on the television. Spend some time with in meditation. Spend some time with God. Spend some time with your wife or husband in silence. You'll find you can communicate more deeply that way.
Good morning again, everyone. It's so wonderful to hear Swamiji talking on this topic of getting away from our daily duties. He was talking more about seclusion, and today we're going to talk about more spiritual retreats. And I'd like to start with just a brief testimonial on the Kriyaban retreat that we just had last week. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the organizers, acharyas, and my dear Guru Bhais for making this Kriyaban retreat such a wonderful and divine experience. Every moment of the retreat felt so sacred and uplifting. The guidance from our respected acharyas was deeply enlightening and has strengthened my sadhana and devotion. Being surrounded by devoted Guru Bhais filled my heart with joy and positivity. The collective vibrations, the meditations, the satsangs, the shared experiences have left me feeling blessed, peaceful, and spiritually renewed. I feel extremely fortunate to have been part of this retreat. My heart is full of gratitude and happiness. Thank you for this wonderful, beautiful opportunity. And we can think of like a mini Kumbh Mela, which our masters surely attended and Swamiji attended, and many of you have attended, I'm sure. And the spiritual retreats of Ananda are just a highlight of the year, really, when the devotees all come together. It's a shared experience. There's one thing being alone, there's one thing being at your own center, but when everyone can come together, when we're with Jyotishan Devi Ji and others. And I was remembering back the time when I was new at Ananda many years back, and going to the spiritual retreats, spiritual renewal weeks with Swamiji, and I had never heard of anything like that, but it was just heaven on earth, honestly, to have Swamiji. He was in his 50s at the time, very strong and wonderful talks. Every day he gave every talk. Then there were the meals together, of course, and then there were special musical evenings. He had a tanpura. He had someone be on the tabla. Someone would play the harmonium. Swamiji would sing Indian songs that we never had heard before, bhajans, and some songs he had written. They would just take you into another realm. And then there were plays which were just delightful, and meals together. And then, none of us had really experienced Indian food that much. We'd have Indian banquets, and people would have been cooking for hours, and Swamiji instructing them on how to make the food, initially at least. And we'd all have meals together and fire ceremonies, mantras. And I remember Swamiji himself coming around and chanting in the mornings. We'd be at the meditation retreat, chanting, maybe with the guitar, I vaguely remember, waking people up to come to the sadhanas. And of course, the Kriya ceremony with hundreds of people there. I mean, at the beginning, there were less, but then it grew and grew. And It's been an Ananda tradition for over 50 years. Every year, Spiritual Renewal Week. And so here in India, we began that a couple of years back. And we began the Kriyaban retreats. And now we're starting also Inner Renewal Weeks. That's happening right now at Ananda Village. You'll see the link to going to it at no cost and attending the programs with Jyotishan Deviji, them giving the classes. And so these are at the heart, really, of Ananda. And this past weekend, a long weekend, Thursday through Sunday, there were over 100 people who came. This was in Bangalore. Maybe 20 additional people who came from Bangalore to take the Kriya initiation, maybe 40 people online watching. And there were many classes. I think there were 10 different talks, 10 talks, different teachers giving the classes. Wonderful chanting, 2 different kirtans, music from the choir every day. Kriya, all the levels of Kriya, wonderful meals, and on and on. And why? Why do we need it? Because people get so sucked into their little life, their routine, the things that you do every day. We need recharging. We need to recharge our spiritual batteries. We need to break out of all the old ways of being locked into this kind of thinking, and this is my routine, and this is where I work, and that's not who we are. I love what Swamiji said. Those are all fillers. We have to always remember who and what we are. And these retreats remind us of the joy of our soul, of the peace that we have within, of the loving life that we have with our Guru Bhais, and sharing the special time sharing we had different teas with different groups, meditation groups and centers, and with the various acharyas, and just those special moments, and how you can ask your questions that you maybe had for so long and get answers from people who've been on the path for longer than you. And the moments of just feeling the divine presence that you know has always been there. But these times of retreats, when you're meditating more with a big group, I mean, 100 people meditating, doing Kriya together is powerful. 100 people chanting together, drawing the presence of God is powerful. Everybody together in classes is powerful. We felt the presence of God. And so what is the outcome of it? I think mountains of karma are dissolved. I think you come out a different person. I saw it. I saw it in my own face in the mirror. I saw it in other people. People who would, maybe you come with worries and, oh, this happened at my job, and oh, my kids are driving me nuts, or whatever it is. And the most beautiful faces, I think, are the faces that you see when you come out of Kriya. It's just, that's who we are. That's our true reality. So I think we understand the teachings better, we get the techniques better, we get checked, we have a review of our Kriya, our other techniques, we energize with other people, maybe we get corrected in things with that, and with Mahamudra, we have yoga posture sessions, we renew, review, we remember, we recommit, we get a restart on our spiritual life and take it up from being, oh, every day I do the same thing, I have to meditate, I have to energize. We just get re-inspired and we just burst out into who and what we really are. One of the classes I remember saying, I just feel sometimes like I'm just going to burst out of this little body, this little personality, this little life. And this is what we think we are and who we think we are. But these retreats, and also I have to say, we have pilgrimages all the time. Honestly, there's no need for people to say that they can't come, they don't have the time, the timing doesn't work. They're wonderful pilgrimages to our gurus' sacred places that we should attend to hear again for the same purpose: purification, inspiration, renewal, cleansing. And just think of 4 days without social media, 4 days without the news, or a week, or however many days you have without the phone ringing and going on WhatsApp constantly. Put it aside. Take time for walks. We had wonderful walks. I took so many walks by myself, just thinking of God, chanting to God, thinking of what I was going to talk about at the classes, but still it was time alone, like Swamiji is saying. And so for all of us, it behooves us not to see it as a luxury, but see it as an essential part of the path. And if you can't get there in person, get there online. Be there this week with Jyotish and Daviji. There's hundreds of people there. And by the way, it's snowing there at Ananda Village. I think you would just enjoy the renewal, inner renewal. And here in India, we're going to have inner renewal. Thank God, in Hindi, inner renewal retreat in Hindi, all in Hindi. I will try my best to speak the best Hindi I can, and others will as well. But please, please make it an essential part of your spiritual life. And I'd like to close now with these very brief quotes here again from the retreat. One says this: I feel deeply grateful and blessed to have been part of this experience. It truly feels like a gift to share such meaningful moments together. My heart feels joyful and awakened after reconnecting with my Ananda family. And one more. Two more. Thank you is a very small word for the wonders felt within this retreat. I feel elated to connect with the great Ananda spiritual family, Jai Guru. And one last one. I am still somewhere in last evening's kirtan. It was divine, ending with Ma Darshan Day, which is reveal thyself. For me, and I'm sure for many others, was when she appeared, Divine Mother. There was such an ocean of absolute bliss and joy at that point. Thank you, Master. Thank you, everyone who made this possible. In Master's love, in Master's light. Om Shanti, Shanti. I'll ask Natindra for the questions we have for today, and please post your questions if you have them.
Thank you so much, Dhanaji. You've really inspired us with giving us a capsule of the entire week within these short minutes.
Yes, and Natindra, I didn't say this, but Govinda is making a highlights, a very brief video presentation of the highlights from the Kriyaban retreat. Because I realized that we have these retreats, but nobody ever gets the highlights if you aren't able to attend. So that will be made available and people will be able to see the highlights.
Wow. Thank you, Govinda. We are really looking forward, Dhanaji, to the highlights. You answered some of our questions that we had, especially the first one. The one that I had was that what do we do in spiritual retreats? Do we just meditate all the whole week? Because that seems difficult, but you've just given such a great glimpse of all the different things that happens. It's very enriching to know that. Dhananjay, the next question we had was on meditation. So, even though meditation is all inwards, that too with our eyes closed, but why is it that it is easier to meditate in a group and if you are in a retreat? So, are there energies around us that help us?
Yeah, there's one word for it, magnetism. There's a group energy, a group magnetism. Consider sitting next to even one person who's been meditating longer than you. Consider sitting next to somebody who's been meditating for 40 years. You just started last week or last month. You're going to gain much, much more. Consider sitting in the room with 10 people who got Kriya 5 years before you did, 3 years before, even a year before you. Consider the depth of the meditation of people, maybe many people in the room who've been meditating longer than you. That's going to be like a big engine that's moving the energy, the meditation forward. And there are people who are restless, struggling maybe, but overall, there's much more power in the group. If you're running in a marathon, run by yourself or run with the group, you're going to feel like there's a wind carrying the group. Anything you do in that way, you feel there's a group magnetism. So you can try on your own, but what I have, and I'm sure many others have found, is that it's got much more strength, power, focus, concentration. There's somebody who leads the prayer, there's somebody who's chanting, and then they say, now let's meditate. Maybe they lead you in some pranayams, and boom, everybody's headed in the same direction at the same time. And so, yes, it has a great, great power. And I highly recommend that people go to the group meditations. There's one in Gurgaon, I know. There's one in Mumbai, I know. There's one in Pune, I know. I don't know all the places, but if there isn't one, there should be a long meditation every week. Please attend with the group. You'll find that you just start taking off and making great progress.
Thank you so much, Dhananjay. And yeah, the testimonies are still flowing in the chat. Also, we see that
Wonderful.
you did practice.
Honestly, I just feel overjoyed. And the thing I didn't say is that it lasts you so long. It just doesn't take that long to recharge your spiritual batteries. And then it lasts you for so long. You just feel so happy and so protected and uplifted. And so I would say it's not too late. Go to the Inner Renewal Week with Jyotish and Daviji. Just all you have to do is go online. It doesn't even cost you. And you will find many blessings, grace, problems start going away. Maybe your health is better. Certainly your mental health is better. And surely your spiritual health is better. So try it. Don't just try it, do it. And you'll find that what blessings we have in Ananda to have these programs all the time, all year long, one program or another, or pilgrimage or another. It's a great blessing.
Thank you, Dhananjay. It's absolutely a blessing. So, how you said that these effect of these retreats lasts long. So, how long do they last, and how frequently should I go to such retreats or pilgrimages?
That's a good question. Well, I'm going to tell you what Swamiji said about his seclusion. He had a seclusion he said he did one seclusion, I've said this before, where he was so exhausted, he slept most of the time. And then not most of the time, but he would sleep, meditate. He didn't meditate a lot. He said that lasted a couple of weeks. Then he said the next time he went to seclusion, he meditated many hours a day, up to 16 hours a day. That's a lot of meditation, maybe 8 hours in the morning and then the evening, 8 hours through the night or something like that. And he said that lasted him a year. Wow. So, I mean, think about the long meditation day on Christmas. That lasts you, it lasts you. So I don't know how long, but it seems like a while. So I would say that spiritual retreats last for some time, weeks, months, depends on if you keep fanning the flames. If you go to the retreat and then, okay, that's it, next year I'll go, and you don't do anything in between, it's not going to do a whole lot. But if you keep going with what you gained, keep going with the sadhana that you gained there. Improve on your techniques that you learned there. Remember the explanations and on the teachings that the teachers have given, that Charyas gave. Have some takeaways. These are the takeaways I'm going to put in my life, rather than, well, it was nice, it was wonderful, it's over. It's not over. It's just starting. You just got out of the chute, so to speak, and then now you've got to take it into your life. Same with the pilgrimage. Take the blessings into your life. I remember, finally, I'll say it once, I went to a couple of times to Babaji's cave, but this one time I was there, and I felt Babaji at the end of that time saying, "It's so nice you can come here. But actually, I'm with you all the time. You can call on me all the time." And I think we have to remember that keep calling, keep the energy going, keep the inspiration going, keep reading your studies, the books, something every day, read something, keep talks going, meaning listen to more talks. Listen to Swamiji's talks, listen to Jyotishan Deviji's talks, come online. You have to keep activated. And as you do, you find, wow, Master's given us so much to keep us inspired, to keep us focused. Finally, Natendra, I'll tell you, to keep us on the path. I mean, otherwise, how will we stay strong and committed on the path? So these retreats keep us on the path.
Thank you so much, Dhanaji. Yeah. So, Dhanaji, does it matter with who I go for these spiritual retreats? And is it like different from a typical holiday, or should it be different from them?
Listen, people tell me after the holidays, the vacation with the family, they need a vacation. So I don't think a holiday, especially if you're going with a lot of people and it's just a lot of talking and eating and doing nothing, and then people say, I wasn't able to meditate. Well, that's a problem. So if it's definitely different. You're going with your spiritual family, and don't just go with anybody. Go with Ananda. Go with the people in your center, the people in Ananda India, global, what do I want to say? Pan India. We had a couple of people, international people who were joining us. Go with devotees, go with disciples, go with Kriyabans, and go with Ananda leaders who know the place, who can help you guide the sadhanas, who give you the classes, give you the information. In other words, what am I saying? Don't go on alone. Go with people who have magnetism, who can give you. Now, this is a subtle thing. It's not even just the teachings, it's the vibrations, the blessings that are flowing, the grace. And I'm saying it from the masters. You heard what I said about that chant, Ma Darshan Day. I mean, you can feel in the presence and the classes and the kirtans and everything, the kriyas. Wow, the masters have come to bless us. So I think that's the most powerful magnet, is everybody together calling, praying, chanting, singing, concentrating, meditating together. It draws the presence. That big magnet draws the presence of God, the gurus. And that's what I felt. They have come. That's the difference.
Huge difference, Dhanaji. Thank you. Just one last question for the day, Dhanaji. So, is spiritual retreat or the inner renewal retreat different from a Kriyaban retreat, and how different are these?
It's not a big difference. A Kriyaban retreat is focused just on Kriya, but there's classes on how to bring Kriya into your daily life. There's classes on yoga, meditation, questions and answers on how do I live my life. I mean, I don't think we need to pick them apart like that. Inner renewal also is going to have Kriya Yoga initiations. The Spiritual Renewal Week has Kriya Yoga initiations. I remember Ananda Village being in there. There were 300 people or more in the Kriyas, And so Kriya is always a part of any of these retreats that I've mentioned. And so it does not, I think, go to what you can go to. What I'm trying to say is go. Don't keep making excuses. And the cost factor is it's not, they don't cost very much. People should be able to go. And let's face it, it's worth it. Honestly, life is short. And you get to the point, you keep saying, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. All you need is one big challenge in your life. And then you can't do it anymore. One big health challenge, one big mental health challenge, one big financial challenge. What you just don't know what's going to happen. So I think Divine Mother is saying, go, gain the magnetism from the others, gain the strength, gain depth, gain more attunement. And then, as Master said, you'll be able to stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. We all remember when COVID hit, boom, suddenly the doors locked. You stay in your house for 2 years. You can't assume on anything. Go as you can. And I would strongly recommend go to the Inner Renewal Week this week with Jyotish and Daviji. Go to the one here in India. I will be there myself and many of the other acharyas. And I know, I feel, how do I know? Because I feel it. I feel it deeply that the masters also attend. And it's their blessings that we feel and their strength, their joy, their love. God bless you all. And thank you, Nitendra. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye.